They said it was just a legend, but now an ancient curse has come to life. In the quiet town of Rosewood, a series of chilling disappearances have left everyone terrified. What if I told you that the peaceful forest you grew up loving is hiding a vengeful spirit? And the survivors? They return marked and silent, trapped in a catatonic state. Except for one. Why did this single person escape the curse? And what spine-chilling secrets do they hold? Stay with us and uncover the dark truth behind the forest that's watching you right now. You won't believe what happens next. Nestled deep within a valley, the small town of Rosewood had always been a quiet, idyllic place where everyone knew everyone. Life moved at a leisurely pace, and the whispers of the outside world seldom reached its cobblestone streets. However, the serenity of Rosewood was shattered when a series of mysterious disappearances began to plague the town. The legend of the spirit of Miras was deeply rooted in the collective consciousness of Rosewood, an eerie tale whispered through generations. According to the old story, Miras was once a wronged soul, betrayed and left to perish in the depths of the ancient forest that bordered the town. Bound by a curse, his spirit was condemned to wander the shadowy woods for eternity, seeking vengeance against anyone who dared to encroach upon his domain. This spectral guardian was said to emerge from the mist and darkness, drawn by the fear and curiosity of those who ventured too far. Over time, the legend became a part of Rosewood's folklore, a cautionary tale to deter the adventurous and the foolhardy from losing themselves in the labyrinthine forest. Initially, the townspeople treated the story of Miras as nothing more than a spooky fable, a tool to keep children from wandering into the forest's dangerous depths. Parents would recount the tale by the firelight, describing the harrowing fate of those who encountered the vengeful spirit, their eyes widening with mock terror as they warned their little ones. For decades, the legend of Miras remained a mere specter of imagination, a chilling but harmless narrative that added a touch of mystique to Rosewood's serene existence. Life in the town went on undisturbed, and the forest remained a place of both wonder and caution, its ancient trees standing as silent witnesses to the passage of time and the weaving of local myths. However, the line between myth and reality began to blur when the first disappearance rocked the town. Lydia Brown, a well-loved elderly woman known for her gentle demeanor and vibrant garden, vanished without a trace. Her absence was a jolt to the community, sparking frantic searches and sleepless nights. Days later, Lydia was found at the forest's edge, alive but unresponsive, her back marked with the unmistakable letter M. Her catatonic state and the eerie symbol carved into her skin transformed the old legend into a horrifying reality. Fear seeped into the hearts of Rosewood's residents as they realized the tale of Miras was more than just a story. With each subsequent disappearance, the terror grew, and the once dismissed legend took on a new, ominous significance. The forest was no longer just a backdrop to their lives. It was a looming threat, a dark mystery that held the town in its grip. Mrs. Lydia Brown was the first to vanish, and her disappearance marked the beginning of Rosewood's descent into fear. Known for her lush garden that bloomed in vibrant colors and her ever-warm smile, Lydia was a beloved figure in the community. She often spent her afternoons tending to her flowers and sharing stories with the neighborhood children. Her presence was a comforting constant in the lives of those around her. When her neighbors realized they hadn't seen her for several days, concern quickly turned into alarm. Lydia was not one to travel far from home or neglect her garden, which made her sudden absence all the more troubling. As the days passed with no sign of Lydia, her worried neighbors decided to investigate. They found her home eerily silent, her favorite teapot still on the stove and her garden tools neatly arranged as if she had just stepped out for a moment. There were no signs of struggle or any indication of where she might have gone. However, A faint trail of disturbed leaves and broken twigs led away from her back door and into the dense, foreboding forest. This discovery sent a chill through the small search party that had gathered, for the trail seemed to beckon them into the heart of the woods, where the legend of Miras cast its darkest shadows. Days later, the search party's worst fears were realized. Lydia was found lying at the edge of the forest, her eyes wide open but unseeing, her body rigid and unresponsive. She was in a catatonic state, seemingly unaware of the world around her. As they carefully turned her over, the searchers gasped at the sight of a strange mark carved deeply into her back, the letter M. This disturbing symbol sent shockwaves through the community, transforming their initial concern into a palpable fear. The legend of Miras was no longer just a story to frighten children. It had manifested in a very real and terrifying way. Lydia's condition, paired with the mysterious mark, left the townspeople grappling with a mix of disbelief and dread. The peaceful town of Rosewood was suddenly under a dark cloud of suspicion and fear, with the haunting presence of Miras seemingly stepping out of the shadows and into their reality. I remember the night I disappeared vividly. My name is Thomas Green, a 22-year-old college student who had returned to Rosewood for summer break. The town had always been a sanctuary of peace and familiarity for me, but this summer was different. An uneasy tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. The recent disappearances and the tale of Miras haunted our days and nights. That particular evening, I felt a restlessness I couldn't shake. Sleep eluded me, and the walls of my childhood home seemed to close in. Hoping the cool night air might calm my nerves, I decided to take a walk, a habit that once brought me solace. As I strolled through the quiet streets, I found myself inexorably drawn to the edge of the forest. The boundary between our safe town and the dark unknown felt magnetic, pulling me closer despite the nagging voice in my head warning me to stay away. The forest, usually a place of beauty and adventure, now felt ominous and foreboding. The towering trees, cloaked in shadow, seemed to whisper ancient secrets among themselves. The further I walked, the more I felt a creeping chill run down my spine. The familiar paths I had known since childhood felt alien and sinister. I realized, with a jolt of fear, that I had ventured far deeper into the woods than I had ever intended. Before I could gather my thoughts and turn back, the atmosphere around me shifted dramatically. The air grew colder, and the forest fell eerily silent. My breath became visible in the sudden chill, and I could hear the rapid thumping of my own heart. It was then that I saw it, a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness, tall and menacing. Its eyes, glowing faintly, seemed to lock onto mine with a malevolent intelligence. My body froze, every muscle paralyzed by an unseen force. I felt a sharp, searing pain in my back, like the bite of a red-hot iron. My vision blurred, and the world around me began to fade into darkness. I collapsed onto the forest floor. The last thing I saw was the figure looming over me, a silent sentinel of terror. When I awoke, I found myself back in the town, surrounded by familiar faces, all etched with worry and relief. The harsh morning light stung my eyes, but the pain in my back was excruciating, a burning reminder of the night's events. Friends and family crowded around me, their voices a jumble of concern and curiosity. They helped me to a sitting position, and it was then that I felt the raw, carved letter M etched deeply into my skin. The sensation was both sharp and throbbing, as if the mark itself was alive with some malevolent energy. The realization that I had survived where others had succumbed to catatonia brought a mixture of relief and dread. Unlike the others who had vanished and returned, I retained my ability to speak and move, though my body was weak and my mind was haunted by the encounter. Each word felt heavy on my tongue, and each movement was a struggle against the exhaustion that weighed me down. The townspeople, though relieved to see me conscious, were filled with questions that I could barely answer. My memories of the shadowy figure and the searing pain were vivid yet fragmented, pieces of a nightmare that refused to fully form. My survival, coupled with the fact that I could still communicate, set me apart from the others who had returned in a silent, unresponsive state. The town's doctor and local historians were baffled, unable to explain the mark or why I had not fallen into the same catatonic state as the others. They examined the carved letter with a mix of scientific scrutiny and superstitious fear, their faces reflecting a deepening puzzle they couldn't solve. The historians pored over old texts and legends, searching for any clue that might explain my unique condition. Despite their efforts, no one could determine why I had been spared the fate of the others. The mystery of the mark and my partial resistance to the spirit's curse left the town in a state of uneasy speculation. I became both a symbol of hope and a reminder of the dark force that still lurked in the woods, a living testament to the unresolved terror of Miras. Weeks have passed since my return, but the shadow of Miras still looms heavily over Rosewood. Despite the fact that the disappearances have ceased, a pervasive sense of dread lingers in the air, an unspoken fear that grips the hearts of every resident. Daily life has resumed its normal rhythms, but there is an undercurrent of anxiety that no one can shake. The children no longer play near the edge of the forest, and the once vibrant social gatherings have dwindled, replaced by hushed conversations and wary glances. The legend of Miras, once dismissed as mere folklore, has taken on a terrifying reality, altering the fabric of our community. Each night, I am haunted by vivid, relentless nightmares. I relive my encounter with Miras over and over again, the shadowy figure looming over me, its cold, piercing eyes staring into my soul. The searing pain in my back, the feeling of helplessness, and the overwhelming fear return with startling clarity. These dreams are not just memories. They feel like fresh encounters, leaving me drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. The mark on my back, a constant reminder of that night, throbs in the dark, as if it has a life of its own. I wake each morning with a sense of foreboding, unable to escape the grip of Miras' lingering presence. The psychological toll is immense, and I find it increasingly difficult to separate reality from the spectral echoes of my dreams. The townspeople treat me with a complex mix of awe and fear, unsure whether to see me as a miraculous survivor or a harbinger of further doom. My survival, unique among the victims, has set me apart, creating a barrier of uncertainty and suspicion. Some view me as a beacon of hope, proof that it is possible to face Miras and live to tell the tale. Others, however, are wary, their eyes reflecting a fear that my return might signal something far worse on the horizon. This dichotomy leaves me isolated, caught between being a living testament to our darkest fears and a reluctant symbol of resilience. The unease in the town is palpable, a constant reminder that while the physical threat may have abated, the psychological and emotional scars run deep, and the legend of Miras is far from over. The story of the spirit of Miras has taken on a new life in Rosewood. It's no longer just a legend, but a living, breathing part of our reality. As for me, I continue to grapple with the aftermath of my encounter, seeking answers in the quiet moments of the night. The mark on my back is a permanent reminder of the town's haunting past, a past that we all fear might one day return to claim more souls. Rosewood may never be the same, but we live on, bound by our shared experience and the hope that we can one day unravel the mystery that has forever changed our lives. Uncover stories that will haunt your dreams and leave you yearning for more, perfect for those dark, stormy nights. Don't miss out. Grab your copy now at Amazon, link in the description of the video, and embark on a journey of pure terror. Check also this video about the best horror stories I've known. Thank you for joining us on this harrowing journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of terror. Until next time, stay safe and beware the shadows.